winners bracket semis game, or the winners bracket finals game rather, from Durham Regionals. I'm playing RP. I'm playing RP at Maxim's tournament. RP with Batty and Ichi. If you haven't seen the list yet, it's like on StimHack and different places. Rob made a really good run in this tournament. He was pretty upset by, not winning and stuff, but I think he played phenomenally well. He comes from the area. He comes from the Baltimore area, so he plays with Jesse Vandover and Niles and Ben Mason and stuff. And he's gotten a lot better, and I think he's coming to his own as a really strong world class player, whether he knows it or not at this point. And he played a really good game here. I had to actually get lucky to beat him. It is a bad matchup, so let's get this going. There's actually a little bit of banter. I think he says that if he could shoot anybody in the head, it would be me. No offense. I'm like, how do I not take offense to that? So he's playing Noise with Pancakes. I think no sure gambles. He's playing something similar to Pace's list. You can see a Lamprey, a Street Peddler, a Cash. He's got a pretty reasonable open there. Clone Ship, but I'm not sure what the last card is. And I've got a tough one. I actually lay my hand out to show him because it's a pretty difficult hand to mulligan. So I show him the hand and just show everybody the hand. I think this is a really good move to mulligan this hand. Oh shit. I shuffled it in already? Oh no. Okay, yeah, here we go. I'm gonna show the hand. Alright, so the hand is Baco. I'm sorry about the glare, by the way, guys. I think it's Baco, Lotus Field, DBS, Batty, Caprice. So I'm only going to get this hand against Noise. Against Noise, you need to go pretty fast, and that hand has no econ in it. Despite the fact that it's also got no agendas, which might entice you to keep, especially against a deck where you can just slow down and take your time. Noise is not one of those decks. So I ship this no agenda hand, 2 ice, 2 upgrades, and a DBS. Because it's got no money in it. Basically, when you're running into a tough matchup, or even a medium matchup, if you got a lackluster hand, especially a hand that's slow against a deck that has a better long game than you, I think that you've got to consider mulliganing it. Because if you don't get off to a fast start and put them under pressure, they're just going to be able to set up their thing, and if they beat you in the long game with their thing set up, you're going to be slow, and they're going to probably do well. I end up drawing into a much better hand. I don't need to talk about it right now because I'm about to show it off with the gift. So Pup, Crick, Jackson, Batty, Eli. This is a phenomenal hand against Noise. This is pretty much exactly what you want to see. Maybe the Batty could be a Restructure or a Caprice even maybe would be better, or a Sundew. But it really doesn't make that much of a difference. This hand is quite good. And then I go ahead and pop R&D. I want to save Eli because it's better than Pup to put on the remote if I draw a Sundew, or even if I just want to score behind it. Sometimes you have to score with just 1 ice against Noise. Alright, so he goes Street Peddler, Cash. Take his money. And then Data Sucker. Does he not have the Lamprey this game? I'm not sure. I guess he decided that it was better to mill 2 cards and run Archives and get his Data Sucker turn. Getting Data Suckers against RP is great, especially because he's got Clone Chip in hand. So being able to instant kill a larger ice with Parasite later in the game is a gigantic threat. I didn't quite see what I drew there. It looks like it's another piece of ice. So I gotta think about this one. I think my quick one is draw. You could do Jackson draw here, but I avoided it because I wanted to, save it because it's Noise. So I just click one draw. I see another Crick, which is great. This is really, really good news. Crick is a reasonable one against Noise. Obviously, he's filling up your archive, so that's pretty much always going to be turned on. And the fact that he only saw one of the Cricks means that once I ice archives, he's going to assume that there's no more Cricks. So this is going to allow me to ice HQ and archives with Crick and get him to run into the HQ Crick. And I'm going to trigger it and, put in stuff into play. He just goes ahead and starts drawing. He's looking for his wild side. Obviously, the sooner that gets set up, the better. Unfortunately, he doesn't find it. Obviously, it's not on the Street Peddler, or he would have just probably put that into play immediately before the turn began. Draws again, still looking for wild side, and just discards a clot. Obviously, he doesn't need that. Mandatory draw. I find Sundew, which is perfect. So I'm going to build Sundews over this turn. When you find your Sundew, you really just want to put it into play, and I go ahead and I put Batty in there with it, I think. Oh no, I guess I put Caprice in there. I guess I drew a Caprice. So now I've got the Eli on the remote with the Sundew. He's got no breakers. You know, he might want to, go and face check and click through Eli to get to that Sundew, but that does take a long time, and he doesn't have any of his, drip econ style things going. No pawn shop, no wild side. Just plays a Lamprey, plays another Lamprey, and then he's going to go for HQ. Oh no, he doesn't go for HQ this turn, which is, I don't know if it's a mistake. I think you probably don't want to play both Lampreys there if you're not going to run HQ, because this is just a reasonable purge for me. I mean, he spent his turn, drawing 2 Lampreys with clicks, playing them, milling some cards, but I've got Jackson, so I can rescue them, and I think he's failed to mill an agenda so far, so I just purge those away. I get rid of the 1 Data Sucker token, which is nice, because now all my Centrals are iced up, so he can't get another one. He finds Pawn Shop, plays that. Still no wild side, though. So he's giving me... I've gotten a good amount of time to set up, and meanwhile, without wild side, he's, dirtling a little too hard. And he needs to continue to discard pitches of medium and a parasite. Obviously, not the things you're looking to discard against RP, both reasonable. This turn, I go for Jackson. Jackson draw 2. I find another Jackson at hedge fund. The draws that I have in this game are just phenomenal, but it's still really close. I maybe could have done better. I think one of my main mistakes was discarding a Future Perfect to Jackson Howard. So I just go Jackson, draw 2, hedge fund. No reason to protect Jackson Howard or anything. First of all, I don't have any ice left, I don't think. And second of all, I've got another one. Meanwhile, Rob continues to draw for a wild side. So this is really your best shot, I think, of beating Noise, is having them just not draw a wild side quickly. Or not draw Pawn Shop. Either one. Okay, so he did mill an agenda. Faces into the HQ Crick. I go ahead and I add Ichi to the remote server, which turns on the whole Batty plan. And he hits the other Jackson, he's going to trash that. Fortunately, I can just, shuffle it in with the other Jackson later, which I do. Another damn hedge fund. Oop. Draw 1 card, it's the Future Perfect. I guess I'm drawing 2 there. I didn't mean to, string bet him there. I think I just drew 2, but I dropped the Future Perfect, so, it took me a second. So yeah, first misplay of the game, showing off the Future Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and ice R&D again, see what that is. It's, somewhat important. I guess it's a Bako. And I end up pitching this Future Perfect, and it really punishes me. I should have kept it in hand. Actually, maybe I don't pitch it. He might actually just get it. I don't remember. And then I go ahead and I add the Batty to the remote. So now I've got a really, really good remote. Ichi, Eli, Batty, Caprice. You should note that I'm using Sundew as building the remote, the scoring remote around Sundew. This is something you usually have to do against Noise's RP. You don't really have time to set up multiple remotes. And he goes and face checks Archives, thinking that the Crick is on HQ, and I was trying to trick him, which was not the case. Turns out I just had 2. So, like I said before, that caused a double blowout. And then instead of using the Jackson to save the Nisei, I just go ahead and I put the Nisei in the remote, installing over the Sundew. I already got my Sundew credits for the turn, so this is just a good value play. Unfortunately, he does get into HQ now because he's got his sucker token, so he's a hedge fund, and I think he continues to run HQ for a little while here. Eventually, he does steal the Future Perfect that he saw because I flipped it. So yeah. You just sees hedge fund 3 times. I think my hand is double hedge fund, interns, Future Perfect right now. I don't draw an agenda, which is nice. It just allows me to, advance this Nisei, play a hedge fund. And I put the toll booth on HQ. Not really where you want toll booth against noise. But the fact that he's got very little economy going means that I can res the toll booth if I really need to. And it's not as bad as it could be. At least in terms of like me paying 8. You don't really want to pay 8 to defend HQ. So he plays Faust, runs HQ. Now I've got to think. I think I don't res the toll booth here. Just because like I just need to play side games. And he does see the future perfect, and he does win the side game. This is a big deal. This puts him back in a game that he was pretty severely behind in. Oh no. He missed. But I think he comes back. Yeah, and his diligence will pay off here. I think he probably has to run into like 8 times, 7 or 8 times, something. But he does get the future perfect, I remember. Which is a big deal. It could have been a mistake not to res the toll booth here, but what I was thinking was my Sundu's gone, and I'm not sure that I have enough. And then on top of that, because he played Faust, he doesn't have 3 credits anymore. So, like, if he had exactly 3 credits there rather than 2, I think I'm definitely resing that toll booth. But the fact that I had 5 cards in hand and he was only 1-15ing on the future perfect means that I think I was, like, a little bit okay to not res it. He did get it. A little bit lucky, but, he ran it enough times to deserve that future perfect. Obviously, I just scored my Nisei on my turn. I actually thought about not doing it for a second, but then I drew a Sundu, which means that I just want to evacuate that server as soon as possible. Let's pause this game. So, I got Jackson in play. I've got no more agendas in my hand. I have the Nisei scored, and I have a good amount of money. He's got no wild side, but he does have Faust Data Sucker. So, between those two things and any parasites that he might have drawn, he could effectively tear down my server. And this is something that you have to do as RP nowadays. When you're playing against these decks with good long games, you really have to count your money and look at all your ice, figure out how much it's going to cost to res them, figure out, put aside some money for side games, and make sure that you actually have enough money to do all the things that you want to do. Because when you start scoring, you can score the first Nisei and then take a break. But when you score your second agenda, you're pretty much off to the races. You don't want to score that second agenda until you're looking to win the game. So I have to think here about whether I want to just money up. And I decide that, I sort of need more money. So I just play the Sundu, play a hedge fund, play restructure. It's likely that I'm actually just going to trash this Sundu pretty quickly out of the server. And for that reason, it might have actually been good to build Sundu server just by itself. Because next turn, my plan was to Jackson look for an agenda and keep scoring because I have plenty of money at this point. So I think that putting Sundu back in the scoring remote was probably a mistake here. He goes ahead Deja Vu's for Cash Faust. If you don't have Wild Side, Deja Vu is a pretty good substitute to just load you up with more cards. And, he plays Cash, plays a Clone Chip. I find a Caprice, which is not particularly useful. And then I just go ahead and I interns a Nisei. So far, both of the agendas that I've gone to score have come courtesy of noise, thanks to Crick and interns. I end up getting pretty hard punished for him stealing this future perfect. Okay, so he face checks HQ and then goes for the remote with lots of cards in hand. So I go ahead and I get my Ichi. I say before Clone Chip, I need to do this. or before the encounter, I need to do this anyway. So I'm like, okay, wait, before the encounter. Let me blow up Data Sucker. I think, like, maybe I needed, like, I'm gonna stop. I did this sort of wrong. Like, he did say, like, run, and then I res Ichi, and then he goes and puts a Parasite. But really what needs to be done is you need to figure out which window he's putting the Parasite in on. If he puts the Parasite in during the encounter paid abilities window, I can't do this. But I still have the chance to Ichi before he Parasites if he puts it on during the encounter window. I just have to, say, like, stop. So I probably should have stopped and said, like, you don't need to put the Parasite on yet. I'm going to do the Ichi first. It's like a little, I don't know how particularly relevant it is, but I blow up the Data Sucker. He's going to need to Faust this anyway, but it did sort of put him, I guess, in this position where he has the Parasite out and maybe he wouldn't have wanted to do that. So I think, I don't know, I was still not like really 100% sure on the timing windows, but yeah, he discards his, or he clicks through the Ichi rather. And I just res my Eli and my Caprice. He's going to have to pitch 3 cards and play the side game, and then I have the Nisei counter anyway, so he just bounces. Okay, so I draw a Future Perfect here, which is perfect. But I have spent all my money. Now, I don't know how I managed to do this. I don't really remember. Oh, right. I didn't mill from Parasite. So that Future Perfect is actually supposed to be a mill card. So I just discard and, appeal to the audience. They realize that it is the one that I'm supposed to mill. Did I not draw a card? I'm not really sure. That might have been a mistake there. I might have skipped my mandatory draw. I did draw a card there. I don't know. It's a little bit difficult to follow. Yeah, that was my mandatory draw for the next turn, maybe. So now I go digging for the last Future Perfect. This is like also another maybe mistake. It's possible that I should just be shuffling with Jackson in because that doubles the number of Future Perfects in my deck, which is at least as good as, I guess, just drawing the extra cards. But my logic is that if I shuffle in the Future Perfect with Jackson later, that gives me a better chance to draw the Future Perfect that I shuffled in because the deck will be smaller. But it also increases my clock, which turns out to be a pretty big deal.